Yeah, I've seen that, yeah. Huh?
That's confusing. Okay, here you go.
Clap?
Yeah.
I want to direct, you know? That's literally it.
Continuing to exercise my creative brain.
And maybe I can still go back to acting eventually.
I have a lot to say, but I want to show it.
Okay, so to start off, what is holding you back?
Like, I would like to make my own stuff more, but at the same time, I don't feel like I have the ability or time to like create a full production right now, like especially like money-wise, like that's a huge thing. But like also at this point, I feel like I need to also like start making connections in like different parts.
Having an audience and having people to like are actually looking forward to your stuff motivates you to create. What motivates me is people talking about it. Like even this right now is making me like think like, oh, like I should be, like why am I not?
For me it's like complicated. Like for me, I'm motivated to do it. I feel like my happiness depends on like how much I create and like how much I make. So I'm at a point where I have to learn that like I have to give some things up in order to make time for myself to like be creating and do things that I like. So I think, yeah, it just comes down to like making the time for it and like not being a perfectionist, especially at the beginning, because I feel like wanting everything to be amazing just stops you from like just diving into a project.
I feel like I've had like a bit of like a writer's block of sorts for the last little bit. Not even like coming up with ideas, just finding the confidence to actually do them. You know, because I've got a whole journal in my backpack full of like shit, just like random shit. And obviously I could run with them, you know, but it's just a matter of like getting myself to that point to do it.
I wanted to be like an actor when I was young, like a kid, and then I realized like the acting process, like I realized maybe I wasn't like good enough, I guess, to do it. Which is a terrible way to think.
Not.
But I just felt that way as a kid. I was like maybe I just can't do this. Also, like, I don't want to get into this, but it was like every time I would watch films, like the people in the films didn't look like me. You know what I mean? So there was an issue with that, and I was like,
No, I feel.
right?
Yeah.
Like in terms of like representation and stuff, I didn't see like that many black men leading films. And so I was like, yeah, this is a bad idea, because maybe I shouldn't like try to open a door that's like not for me, you know what I mean? And then I realized maybe like it might be easier for me to try and make it like behind the scenes, because I also just really enjoyed writing. So I was like, yeah, I guess it's just, yeah, so
like,
I was like, yeah, I was like,
It's the same thing. No, because I told my dad, I literally said, I was like, I remember I had this fight with my dad when I was like, I want to be an actor. And he was like, honestly, like, he was like, it would be different if you were white. He was like, I would support you if you were white, but you're not, and the roles just aren't there for you. So like, you can't, like, he's like, statistically, you can't do it.
Obviously confidence is like a huge thing, and it's hard. You have to have a lot of confidence to put your work out there.
I used to be really afraid of telling my own stories, or stories that were personal to me, because I didn't think anyone would understand or relate.
My biggest critic is myself, realistically. So even like I'm scared to do it, like to disappoint myself in a way. Which is such a fucked up, like why do I think like this, you know? It's just absolutely ridiculous.
I'm very hesitant to share my work right now. Like I would in the future, I think that would be cool. But right now I'm still in that area where like I'm still figuring stuff out, and there's like such a gap between like how I want my projects to look and how they actually look, you know? So once I get close, like that gap gets smaller and smaller, I'll probably be more comfortable sharing it.
If I were to make a film and I felt really good about it, like I would still get anxiety about showing it to people, like whatever. I think I put too much weight on what other people think.
I'm like really bad with this, like comparing myself to people, where I'm like, oh, like, cause this person I graduated high school with is like on a TV show, or she like got a job working as an actor in New York. I'm like, how did they do that? Like, and then I'm like, oh, why am I not there? Why am I not? And there's a lot of that pressure for me.
What would you say like 90% of it is like social media?
social media is bad.
I
Terrible.
literally-
Terrible. I had to stop. No, yeah, I had
Do you
to.
still have an Instagram?
I do, and it stresses me out.
So for you to post something like a cover, what makes you post it?
I have to listen to it 5,000 times. I send it to like 12 different people and I'm like, is this okay? And I read into their reactions. Like if I don't get like the reaction that I think it needs to be shared, then I'm like, no. Like if they're like, oh my God, it's so good, I'm like, no. But if they're like, oh my God, it's so good, exclamation, exclamation, like all caps, like some shit, I'm like, okay, then we're fine. You know, like it's, my psyche, man's fucked. But like, so it takes that and then I have to literally like set it up, have it ready to post for like 3 days until I find the motivation to actually hit the button. It's fucked, it's so fucked. But you know what, this is how it goes.
And especially with Instagram, it's gonna feel like my feed has to look nice. And I know that doesn't matter, but it's gonna be like, oh, the photos have to like match because everyone looks at it and it has to look perfect. And I know it doesn't matter, but it does.
I'm so aware that like this is like the best me that I'm putting out, and you're always questioning like, is this, like if this is the best me, like is that good enough? Like I could be better, but like you're already putting out the best angle and the best lighting and the best everything.
My favorite musician once quoted or said this quote, and it was like, every once in a while you just have to like throw yourself off a cliff and like allow yourself to shatter into a million different pieces, and then you kind of like look at what you excuse me, you kind of like look at what you have and kind of only pick back up like what you need, like what's essential to you.
That's really accurate. That's good. I like that.
I used to compare myself to other people in a way that it would be like, oh, they're doing so much better than me. There must be something wrong with me. And that used to stress me out so much. But it's also like, everyone's just like going in a different direction or like doing different things. Like we're not all the same, you know, we're moving at different speeds and stuff like that. And even if we are walking in the same direction, everyone's wearing different shoes, so you can't compare how fast they're going to yourself, you know what I'm saying? So
like you can't, like if you're exercising creatively, like you can't get worse. Like you just like, that's not possible. Like how the fuck, like, yeah, so. I don't want my relationship with music to change. Like sometimes I fear entering a professional world of music and then like losing my love for it.
I feel like once I started like doing it like as a job, I've had less time to like do it for myself.
I was in like a really bad relationship with music like towards the end of last year, just because I found myself like falling into a routine of going to my computer and like thinking about like how to make a good song.
I think it was forced.
Yeah, it was really forced. And like over the summer, like when I re-linked with my friends and like it was casual and like it was all love, like I remembered that like I make music because it's fun. Like you can't get frustrated when you're not getting the sound you want, because like you're not having fun, like it won't sound good.
I think the thing with like filming stuff or just making stuff in general, a lot of the time you're constantly like, you like give yourself excuses for like why. Oh, like school's in my way. Oh, like I don't have a nice location. Oh, I don't have a good camera. Or this, that. And like at the end of the day, you can still make it, but I don't know. I'm giving myself excuses for not.
I would like hit this like kind of wall, and I wouldn't see like any improvement for the longest time, but I just like had to keep going back at it, and like every time, like sure as can be, like there was always growth, like another period of climb, and then there's kind of like another static period. So it's like, it's cyclical, but if you're just like patient, it's like, it'll come. I think like people's biggest limitation is not realizing their own freedom.